Good morning, listeners. You are tuned in to In Her Words Radio. I am your host, Selena Combs. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you that chooses to tune in to our podcast. If you've been listening, then you do know that this podcast is dedicated to providing a platform for motivation, resources, whatever tool you can get that's going to promote some positive reinforcement into your life. That's what this podcast is designed to do. So that's what we're doing. And today, I actually want to talk to you guys about excuses. Excuses are the tools of the weak and the incompetent, and they're used to build monuments of nothingness. And those who excel in seldom excels in anything but excuses. Now, when I heard that quote, I was like, wow, that's some good stuff right there. We all are guilty of it. I'm not going to say that, oh, I don't make up excuses. We do. But you have to understand and you have to look at the fact that basically what an excuse does is it denies responsibility. An explanation will actually allow for the responsibility to be acknowledged and the situation to be explored and maybe understood. But excuses come from feelings of defensiveness that pops up when someone is feeling attacked, whereas an explanation occurs when someone wants to be understood. So when you take that little bit of information and you kind of like log it into your processing bank in your brain, I want you guys to understand that there is a difference between an explanation and an excuse. People make excuses when they feel attacked. They become defensive. Excuses are often used to deny responsibility. Whereas if I felt like I did something wrong, or if you felt I did something wrong, or you will want to offer an explanation. And with that explanation, you're going to basically you're going to feel the need to explain yourself. You want to be understood. You want to acknowledge what happened, and you want to take on that duty of making the situation understandable to whoever you're trying to convey that message to. So when you think about your life and the way you deal with things, just wondering, are you an excuse giver or are you an explainer? That's the question for today's podcast. Do I give excuses or do I give explanations? The definition of an excuse is a reason that you give in order to explain why something has been done. You forgive them for it. If someone is excused from a duty or responsibility, then they are told they do not have to carry it out. These are just definitions just to kind of give you an example of an excuse. When you think about an excuse, you would kind of hope that excuse would serve as an apology or an explanation or an opportunity to justify whatever that situation is. But when you really think about it, are you using an excuse or are you making it your business to actually explain or give a reason or give a decision and actually allow it to be valid without feeling the need to be defensive? So if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of this excuse or reason as a communicative act, while an excuse is an appeal to authority, we offer excuses to people in positions of authority in the hopes that these people will not exercise their authority. But there is no communication in the true sense. We simply lay something on the table for other people to examine and use or discard it at their own whim. Now, we may trust people in authority to be just and to treat the excuse we offer fairly and considerably, but is it an authoritative relationship that we are just have to put up with their decision, even if we think we are being unfair or just? So just kind of to piggyback off of that and kind of put it into layman's terms, You're late for work. You get to your boss. Now your boss has the ability to fire you. Do you explain why you're late, or do you give your boss an excuse? Oh, the traffic was crazy. Or do you offer a valid explanation as to why you're late? Now, by contrast, when we offer excuses to people, there is an assumption of equality and an assumption that the other person will base their decision and actions on the better reasoning, not just on mere authority. The other people must produce reasons of their own. And on a rare occasions, you will you will see that where most people are willing to offer up an excuse to an authoritative figure. At the same time, you may not feel the need to offer that same level of excuse or to your child or to a peer. So an excuse is a reason why we're unable to meet a challenge. It's something that says that you'll fall short of accomplishing something. Everybody has these times when we fail, and why we failed are reasons. When reasons are because of our limits that we've placed ourselves, they become excuses. If you actually set a goal where people, you have the ability to do whatever you set your mind to. And when you take that into consideration and the ability that you have to do whatever you need to do, then you will excel and you will stop using excuses, as they are monuments of nothingness. Now, an explanation is truthful. It's not a made up story. Excuses can be truthful as well. Now, I'm not saying that they are not. Again, just to kind of break it down in layman's terms, if I'm truly sick and I believe I can't go to work today, I may ask to take that day off as sick. Now, that's not an excuse, it's a reality. But on the other hand, if I'm just a little bit under the weather and I'm truly not sick and I just fake being sick just to get that day off, then that's an excuse to not go to work. So are you making excuses, or are you living a life of explanations? When something happens, when there's an excuse, a reason normally justifies it. If the reason that it didn't happen, would you or would it not be accepted as an excuse? So I just kind of wanted to touch bases on that again. If you can take a time to kind of like pause through the podcast and even just kind of write that down and use it as your daily inspiration to stop making excuses to do what it is that you need to get done and to actually feel complete about it, then that's what I encourage you guys to do today. When you tune in, again, if you don't even have the time to kind of stop and jot things down, then you can definitely Google this poem or quote, and it's called Excuses, Incompetence. And I encourage you guys to Google it, to get the words, to write it down, and to allow it to drive you. And again, its excuses are the tools of the weak and incompetent. They're used to build monuments of nothingness. Those who excel in it seldom excels in anything but excuses. So ask yourself, do I want to be that person that only excels in excuses, where it's one excuse after the other? Are you producing results or excuses? That's what I would like for you guys to challenge yourself and ask yourself today. This is your host, Selena Combs. I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'm going to sign off. I will be back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I encourage you guys to like, share, and follow the podcast. The listeners are great. The stats look good. So I really appreciate everyone that actually takes the time to hit the link and actually listen to what we're podcasting about today. Thank you. So as you go on through your day to day, that's the question for today. Am I making excuses, or am I producing results? Excuses are tools of the incompetent. Do not allow yourself to be incompetent and engulfed in one excuse after the other. This is your host, Selena Combs with In Her Words Radio. I'm signing off. You guys have a great day. Stay blessed. And again, get that quote, jot it down. Please, guys, this is a very interactive podcast. I encourage and welcome all of your comments, suggestions. If there's a topic idea that you have, please send it to my email at selenaiamher@gmail.com. All of my social media accounts are linked to the podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay blessed and have a great day.